Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Innocent, and I'm actually going to be taking a look at a 50-man, pretty sure this is a 50-man, pretty big local online remote duel locals. Well, honestly, at this point, those locals can kind of be just anything, because a 50-man local is pretty huge, especially for, I guess our standards. Well, card brawlers, pretty much my friend from Montreal and my sponsor as well. I don't know if, yeah, actually am wearing the shirt, so huge shout outs to Card Brawlers for organizing this event. It's always beautiful, man, to see this guy do some really cool things. And yeah, I was with him ever since the beginning, and now he's actually hosting really nice locals and stuff like that people are actually really going into from Kevin's Discord, which has apparently like 2K members in it, which is pretty huge. But yeah, let's jump into the breakdown. So for the decks that were actually submitted for the locals, well, out of the 50 decks, which should be 50, I didn't do the maths, but he just told me it was 50 players. We have 9 Drytron, which is almost 1 out of 5, which is really huge. Clearly the most represented deck, but we'll see if it has the highest conversion. 3 Eldritch variants, so Dragma, Evil Twin, and Numeron. I just feel like the best one isn't even anyone out of these 3, which is kind of weird. I wouldn't play with a lot of Dragma cards. I simply wouldn't play Evil Twin cards at all. Just never. Well, at least not until they get good support. And Numeron, yeah, this is actually pretty decent. Yeah, well, it depends on how much people really want to play around VFD, and if they try to beat VFD, then they're also beating Zexal. It's kind of like the same thing. They lose to the same cards, you know. But yeah, and then we have 2 Zodiac Eldritch. This should actually be up there because it's more of like an Eldritch deck playing Zodiac cards and not the other way around. It's Eldritch Zodiac. But yeah, whatever. I mean, okay, let's just say it's 5 Zodiacs. And then 1 pure Zodiac, which honestly I don't think it's a good idea. The deck is just too linear in the way it plays. It doesn't really snowball advantage in an unfair way. And also, you can't really get rid of defense position monsters without always going Viper or Negalogia and use like those big effects, so when you're out of steam, you're not really playing the game too much. I don't know, I just don't think it's a good idea, unless you play a lot of weird cards like Pot of Avarice and stuff like that. 5 Salamangreat, what the heck is this, man? Again, people still play that deck? This is crazy. Wow. And then, Shadow Dragma. Once again, I just feel like this is kind of the same thing, but I'm just assuming that this is Shadow Trap. Otherwise, it's probably already playing Dragma Punishment. It's just not playing the other Dragma cards like Ecclesia, Nadir, maybe Maximus, but I wouldn't play that one anyways, and Fleur de Lis, so yeah. And then 4 Dragma variants, so 2 Invoked, 1 Evil Twin, and haha, Spellbook. Oh man, this is crazy. Spellbook Dragma. Yeah, and you're gonna see why I said that this is crazy soon enough. And then, of course, 3 Virtual World, but only 3, which is really shocking. I just expected that deck to kind of be up there, you know? Especially in, deck representation. Deck conversion, maybe not, because maybe people are actually having a good time against it, but we never know. And then 3 Phantom Knight. Yeah, sure, alright, this kind of makes sense. I guess this is... Yeah, this is a respectable number for for what the deck is, and also it's not even like we have like the deck at full power, like Utopic Future Dragon and stuff. So the deck is kind of not as good as it should be, but still people are actually kind of I guess having faith in the deck. And 2 Unchained, one of those 2 players is the legendary Kevin himself. 2 Mech Knights, one of them is Invoked, the other one is probably like just pure Mech Knight. I think pure Mech Knight is better than Mech Knight Invoked. 2 Prank Kids, also interesting, man, only 2. 2 Dinosaur, bro, everything is still full power. Literally nothing in the deck got hit. Why aren't people playing Dinosaur more? I mean, the thing is, the deck doesn't have the good matchups that it used to, so I can kind of understand that, but it's still a decent deck. And then 2 Trap Tricks, 8 Other. Other is just... there's like respectable decks in it. It's just that he probably didn't have the space to write like every single one of them, except if they're all like one-of decks. Maybe, I don't know, like Cyber Dragon, Burning Abyss, Infernity, Infernoid, stuff like that. So yeah, anyways, let's get into top 8 representation. So this is the top 8. We have 2 Drytrons. 2 out of the 9 Drytrons ended up going from 50 to 8 players. Yeah, I don't think this is the best conversion rate in the world. It's like 1/4 of the Drytron, I guess. Yeah, but it's just, we still have like that Unchained player. So, by the way, once again, it's Kevin. So, 50% conversion rate technically. At the same time, yeah, the sample size isn't the same. Prank Kids also, we only had 2 Prank Kids, so Prank Kids, only 2 decks used Prank Kids, and one of them ended up in the top 8. Same thing with Unchained. And Pure Numeron, I guess, yeah, if you really want to call it Pure Numeron, that wasn't an Eldritch deck, so it had to be, oh, it's actually an other deck. That's a 100% conversion rate. Yo, look at this, man. 100% conversion rate, 50, 50, around 25-ish%, but not really because it went from 9 to 2. And then we have 1 Invoked Dragma, 1 Spellbook Dragma, so once again, 100%, and 1 Evil Twin Dragma, I'm pretty sure. Oh my god, no way. 50% for the Invoked, 100% for the Evil Twin, and 100% for the Spellbook. Really, really impressive. So basically, what you kind of have to get from this is that not playing the most popular deck can actually be extremely rewarding if you're really, really good with the deck. And I know for a fact that Kevin is extremely good with Unchained, and as a matter of fact, I guess I kind of was the one who pushed him to play this deck for the event, because he messaged me telling me, okay, I have nobody else to ask, so what should I do? What should I play in my deck? What should I side? And also, he told me he was considering playing Virtual World. I said, no, give up on Virtual World. I genuinely, objectively don't think it's a good strategy. I think it's a good deck, but not a good winning strategy. If you want to win, don't play the most played deck in the game, you know? But Unchained is such a good strategy because there's the surprise factor, there's the fact that he's good with the deck, meaning that he won't misplay as much, because that is something that you have to keep in mind. A lot of people always say like, oh, I want to play the best deck, but how about playing the deck that you are the best with? That's a different story. It's kind of like me with Cyber Dragons. I don't really trust myself to play Orchist, Salamangreat, and Brandish, back in 2019, but I trusted myself enough to play Cyber Dragons because I knew how to counter every other deck with Cyber Dragon, and I was able to transform so many brick hands into hands that could eventually play the game and kind of just take advantage of when life was giving me lemons, I was always making lemonade. So, yeah, I guess it's the same thing with the decks that you like, honestly. So it's a beautiful message at the end of the day. Don't really go for the trend. Don't jump on the bandwagon. Just do you, and you should be doing pretty fine in life, honestly. That's actually a generic lesson. But anyways, there's also something else that I want to say. For the top 4, it was actually 1 Unchained, 1 Pure Numeron, 1 was it Invo Dragma? I have to check again, but yeah, Drytron versus Unchained. So one of the 2 in the top 4. So in other words, that one other Drytron actually got knocked out, which means it was a 1 out of 9 conversion rate for the Drytron deck, but still 1 out of 2 for the Unchained, and still 1 out of 2 on the Pure Numeron because he also made it to the top 4, and also the Spellbook Dragma made it to top 4. So the Prank Kids actually lost in the top 8. And then in top 4, Kevin with Unchained actually beat the one of Drytron player. And the Invoked Spellbook player actually beat my Italian boy who was playing the Pure Numeron deck. And it eventually became a final of Unchained against the Dragma Spellbook. And eventually Dragma Spellbook ended up winning. I don't know how Kevin ended up losing. Someone told me it was just he drew awful both games or something like that. I forgot, but maybe it's just also he has a bad matchup. I just genuinely don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't look at any match. But speaking of matches and speaking of coverage, I will actually be covering quite a lot of games that were played on Dueling Book. That's just gonna happen, during this week, next week, and a couple of weeks following. Well, I mean, starting from probably like tomorrow or something. I don't know yet, but yeah. Anyways, that's all I had to say and talk about for this beautiful, I guess, TCG metagame breakdown, but not really. Review, I guess, analysis of, a big remote duel local. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.